Zika virus. Moving on to the news today, Finance Minister Heng Swee Keat is in stable condition after collapsing from a stroke during a cabinet meeting yesterday. This is according to Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, who visited Mr Heng at Tan Tock Seng Hospital this evening. In a Facebook post, Mr Lee says that Mr Heng will remain in intensive care for some time. He underwent neurosurgery after his collapse. Prime Minister Lee says that he's spoken to Mr Heng's family, who said that they were touched by the sympathy and support shown by many Singaporeans. Some members of the public stopped by at Tan Tock Seng Hospital today to offer good wishes to Mr Heng. They brought flowers, hampers and cards, which have been placed at the hospital's Heritage Museum. Among the gifts were tulips from the management of Gardens by the Bay. The attraction's Chief Operating Officer, Felix Loh, said that he had shown Mr Heng around the gardens and that his family loved tulips. There were also cards wishing Mr Heng a speedy recovery and others offering prayers. Many spoke of the good job Mr Heng did as Education Minister. And students from Poi Ching School, which is in Mr Heng's constituency, Tampines GRC, pinned their good wishes.
This area was set up in the morning for members of the public to come by and offer their support for Mr. Heng. Now, initially there was just one table, but as more flowers and hampers and gifts were brought in, a second table was added. Now, in addition to just members of the public coming in, there were also those who knew Mr. Heng personally and even saw him a few days before he had the stroke.
I just had dinner with him just the day before on Wednesday night to discuss about the post-budget feedback from the industry.
And he looked fine at that.
Yeah, he looks perfectly relaxed, so I'm really very surprised.
It was a few days ago, last week actually, and it was on a board that I sit with him, advisory board of the National Youth Award Association of Singapore, and he has been a very active chairman, and he was in great form that afternoon. We had lunch, we had discussions. He's the kind of a man that attracts people's affection.
Religious leaders from all 10 faiths of the Interreligious Organization gathered this evening to pray for Mr. Heng Swee Keat's speedy and full recovery. About 40 religious leaders, including those from the Buddhist and Islamic faiths, and IRO members attended the gathering, which included a 1-minute silent prayer. Also present was Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam, who's covering Mr. Heng's duties as Finance Minister, and Mr. Heng's fellow MP for Tampines GRC, B.M. King.
Swee Keat represents the best in all of us. Humble, someone who's able to overcome adversity, in his case early in life, and someone who has the ability to work with everyone, people of different faiths, people of different ethnic groups, people from all walks of life. He represents the best in Singapore. It's something we all aspire to be.
We all know that he has a heavy responsibility as a minister. He travels quite a lot, and yet he still spends time for the constituency. So I think that's where, as fellow MPs or residents of Tampines, we do see that, and we really appreciate that his heart is in the constituency. So we really hope that he'll recover well and recover fully.
When we saw how he felt during the earthquake in Sabah and the victims, and how he handled the victims of the Sabah earthquake and with the family, we feel that he was really very concerned, and he was trying his best to console them and to do whatever he can.
A stroke happens when an artery to the brain is blocked or bursts, and doctors say that the more quickly a patient receives treatment, the better the chances of recovery. A stroke occurs when blood supply to part of the brain is interrupted and deprives the brain of oxygen. This happens when a blood vessel to the brain is blocked by a clot or has ruptured. A neurologist we spoke to says about 75% of stroke patients have blood clots, while the rest suffer from bleeding either within or around the brain. This condition stems from an aneurysm. That's when the wall of a blood vessel weakens, resulting in a bulging or ballooning out of part of the vessel wall. High blood pressure causes the balloon to enlarge until it bursts.
When that happens, then unfortunately, the blood will flow all around the brain and all over the brain. And so, medically speaking, we know that the brain can get stunned. So when the brain goes into the stun mode, the control of the other bodily function can sometimes come to a standstill. Therefore, we are not surprised that some patients, they collapse, heart stop beating.
Dr. Lee said that about 90 to 95% of people with aneurysms go through life normally without even knowing they have one, as the risk of rupture is low. But the specific cause of aneurysms is unknown.
It could be due to high blood pressure, and most times we actually don't really understand why and how they are formed. Maybe due to genetic factors. Once the aneurysm is formed, one can imagine that anything that causes blood pressure to go up suddenly, for example, lifting of heavy objects, sudden straining, or high emotional stress, anger, could cause a sudden surge in the blood pressure, and that might cause the aneurysm to leak or to rupture.
Dr. Lee added that it's important for patients to get a correct diagnosis and receive treatment immediately.
The rebleeding risk is very high. Okay, and with a rebleed, it carries even higher mortality rate, which is why the first goal within 24 hours is to fix that aneurysm to stop the leak. And then we can deal with the rest of the medical issues, like supporting the heart rate, supporting the blood pressure, helping the patient breathe, avoiding infections.
After a critical period of up to 10 days, Dr. Lee said that patients who survive will take some months to recover, and this includes rehabilitation. And it's